Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're diving into a really fascinating claim. The idea that there's a complex mathematical structure hidden deep inside the first chapter of the Quran, a code that's built entirely around one single number. So, that brings us to this really big question, one that sits at the crossroads of faith, language, and, well, math. Can a sacred text, something revered for its spiritual meaning, also have a deliberate, verifiable mathematical fingerprint? That's the core idea we're going to explore today. So, the focus of this whole claim is the Quran's very first chapter, Surah Al-Fatiha, which translates to the key. Now, it's a really short chapter, just 7 verses, but the argument is that it holds this incredibly intricate secret, a kind of mathematical foundation for the entire book. And the key to unlocking this whole thing? The number 19. According to the source material we're looking at, this number isn't just a coincidence. It's the cornerstone of a really complex system, and it shows up in ways that are claimed to be, frankly, extraordinary. And the very first piece of evidence the source points to is right there at the beginning. It starts with the first verse, the Basmala, in the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. The source states that in its original Arabic, this foundational phrase is made up of precisely 19 letters. So how does this analysis even work? Well, to really get a grip on the claims, we need to understand 3 building blocks that are being used: the verse numbers, the count of letters in each verse, and this thing called geometrical values. So what exactly are geometrical values? It's actually a pretty cool concept. In a lot of ancient alphabets, including Arabic, every letter also has a corresponding number. This practice, it's called gematria, lets you translate words and even whole verses into numerical data that you can then analyze with math. This is a perfect example of how it works. The source uses the Arabic word wahid, which means one. So you take its 4 letters and you add up their assigned numerical values. You've got 6 plus 1 plus 8 plus 4. And what does that give you? 19. It's a simple example, sure, but it perfectly shows how you can turn language into numbers. Okay, now that we've got the tools, let's dig into the first layer of this mathematical structure that the source presents. This part is all about the physical layout of the text, the verses and the letters themselves. The first step is actually pretty straightforward. You start with the number of the surah, which is 1, right? Then, you just line up the verse numbers in order: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're not adding them up or anything. You're just placing them side by side to create one single long number. And the number you get is 11,234,567. Now, here's the kicker. The central claim here is that this specific number, formed just from the chapter's basic structure, is perfectly divisible by 19. It's exactly 19 times 591,293. Okay, but this is where it gets even more interesting. They add another layer. So instead of using the verse numbers, the analysis now uses the number of Arabic letters in each verse. So they do the exact same thing again. You start with the surah number, 1, and then you just line up the letter counts for each verse, one after the other. This creates a new, even bigger number. And, you guessed it, the claim once again is that this number is also a perfect multiple of 19. All right, get ready, because we're about to go to the next level of complexity. The analysis is now going to bring in those geometrical values we talked about earlier, adding a third layer of numerical data into the mix. So this table here lays out all the pieces of the puzzle. For every one of the 7 verses, we've got the letter count, which we just used, and now the total gematria value. And just to remind you, that's the sum of the numerical values for all the letters in that verse. This is the centerpiece of the whole claim. Here's what they do. You start with the surah number, 1, then for each verse, in order, you tack on its letter count, immediately followed by its geometrical value. When you do that for all 7 verses, you get this absolutely enormous 38-digit number. It's meant to encapsulate the entire structure of the chapter. Now, the source points out 3 incredible things about this number. First, despite its mind-boggling size and complexity, it is a multiple of 19. Second, look at how long it is, 38 digits. And what's 38? It's 19 times 2. And third, and this is wild, if you reverse the order of the components, reading them from right to left like you would in Arabic, the brand new number you get is still a multiple of 19. So what's the point of all this? After laying out this intricate web of numbers, what does the source material actually conclude from it all? What's the big takeaway here? Well, the source is incredibly direct about its conclusion. It says, this mathematical composition challenges and bewilders the world's greatest mathematicians, and that creating something this layered and interlocked is far beyond human capabilities. So the argument here, from the source's perspective, is that this is no accident. This isn't just a random coincidence. It's presented as tangible proof, a kind of divine signature that authenticates the text as a message from God, not the work of a human being. And this all builds to a direct challenge. The source basically says this system is impossible to replicate. The challenge is laid out pretty clearly. If this complex mathematical coding is just a human creation, well then, someone else should be able to produce another text with a similarly deep and consistent mathematical structure. Ultimately, the source material leaves us at this really fascinating crossroads. It presents a very detailed mathematical case, and from that, it draws this profound theological conclusion. And it leaves you with a question to think about. In an analysis like this, where does the pattern finding of math end? And where does the mystery truly begin?